Hi everybody, thanks for checking in. I'm going to do a brief update here before we get to the books. I'm going to show you the book haul I have up north, but I wanted to clarify a couple of things. Some of you are aware of this already. I came up here early in April because on March 22nd I injured myself, and it's really embarrassing to talk about it. I fell off a ladder. Really embarrassing to say that. I'm going to walk down here. I'm following the bear trail, actually, which is right next to the property line here, and I'm going over toward the big hill. So I fell off a ladder and hit the concrete floor, busted up my tailbone and some lumbar, and I was in pretty bad shape through April, and they thought I was going to have surgery on my spine because I messed everything up, busted the tailbone. And it was pretty bad. Lesson learned. I am now banned from ladders. For those of you that have fallen and injured themselves, I've never done that before, and it was great. It was greatly amusing to be in pain. Of course, I'm making light of it, but it was serious. The good news is I'm not seriously injured, and I don't need surgery, and I'm going to recover. And I've been recovering, so I came up here early because this is paradise. This is where I belong. So I came up here to recover. They gave me a special seat cushion. Listen, I'm the type of guy, I'm very active. So for the better part of 4 or 5 weeks, I was in a recliner, and that didn't sit well with me. I mean, I was able to read a lot of books, but I'm the type of guy, when I see a senior citizen on the ladder, I say, hey, let me help you. Don't do that. Be careful. And I'm the fool that went up and got on the ladder and fell off. And it's my fault. I was chasing raccoons. I had raccoons in my garage, and I thought they nested up above in the loft. So I put the ladder up to go look, and I didn't set the ladder properly, and I fell off of it. And I consider this a public service. I proved yet again for the world to know that concrete is not to be messed with. Don't fall on it because it hurts. It hurts like hell. Rough one. So I came up here, and I'm a very fortunate man. That's all I can say. I'm a very fortunate man. Could have been a lot worse, and I don't have to have surgery, and I'm still moving. Right now I'm filming this on, what is it? I'm filming this on June 7th, so I've had a couple of months, and I can still feel it. Every once in a while, my tailbone reminds me that it's been injured because I was foolish enough to fall off a ladder. But I came up here to recover, again, where I belong. So I'm going to show you some books. I had a really good book haul while I was here. Since I was here, I thought, well, I'm going to load up. I brought some books with me, and I had some shipped to me, and it's a lot of fun. I've read a lot of books, and I'll explain all of that when I start showing you the books. I have a lot of interesting books to show you. I don't normally do videos about book hauls, but since I kind of fell into this by default, and I did it. So anyways, right now I'm on the far side of my property. I've got about 5 acres here, and this is one of the areas. This is a power line trail, as you can see, and the bears, the deer, the coyotes, the wolves, everything follows the power line trails out. And I have cameras set up here. In fact, I'm standing in front of a camera right now, and we've had a lot of bears up here. Really interesting, big male bears coming into the back country here and the back end of my property from the Shawamigan forest. So I'll show you some of that. I'll show you some of the wildlife. I love the wildlife up here. And then I'm going to show you the books, and we're going to have a real good time looking at those. I hope you find this interesting. And I know not everybody enjoys these videos here because I'm not completely talking about books and devoting my time on camera to talking about books, but it certainly is. This is the real me. This is where I belong up here. So I have multiple episodes where I'm up here horsing around and having fun. Although this year I'm doing it at a much slower pace. You can imagine, right? Much slower pace. So anyways, right here where I'm standing, I've had great bear videos over the years, and stills of the bears and the deer and you name it. We had a guy from the propane company come over to fill my tank, and he showed me a picture he took of a wolf in daylight, which is just over the highway over here, about a mile from here. And so we have wolf packs up here too. I am on the reservation, so we've been on the reservation 49 years this year. Next year we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Camp McNulty, and I have no idea what type of festivities we'll have, but we'll have something. And I'll include books somehow, because there's always books in my life to nurture me when I'm foolish enough to injure myself and fall off a ladder. Okay, so this clearing that I'm in is one of the main clearings that I follow, the trail here, because this is the trail that comes through my property where all of the animals that live in the forest follow this trail from the north, and they come down here toward the cabin. And I'm going to show you a tree here. This tree right here behind me, actually, let me turn around so you can see it. This tree here, this little tree right there, thank you very much. It's you'll see this young tree in some of the video I'm going to show you. What they do is they come off the main power line trail. They come through the woods because they like to keep it secret. And my cameras picked them up. Right now I'm on camera with the cameras I have set up. You can't see them. And they follow this trail in from that's north. And they come in there, and then they usually go over here. They take a sharp left to the east, which is behind me here. And you can see that tree stump there, and then they cross over that tree stump and they head over to my neighbor Wayne's, and he has a fishing table where he cleans his fish, and they're well aware of that table, and they sometimes wake us up in the middle of the night when they're snooping around, the bears especially. We have a couple of really big bears in the area right now, so we're being very cautious. I'm usually armed when I'm back here, not to shoot the animals, but I'm armed to discharge the firearm into the brush, just to frighten any aggressive animals that would show up. I'm not going to shoot an animal. I have a small sidearm on my hip right now. Perfectly safe. Most of the problems that exist up here on the lake and in the Northwoods are created by people. The wild kingdom exists on its own terms, and they don't need any help from us. They know exactly what they're doing and how to live and how to survive. I consider it a privilege to be here among the wildlife. That's just the attitude I take. This is Clan of the Bear. On the reservation, they have the Bear Clan, the Eagle Clan, all of that. That is a spiritual association that the tribal members have, and I respect that deeply. And I get along with the tribal members. I've been up here. So as I mentioned, 50 years next year, and who knows what's going to happen. We're going to have fun. So anyways, I'll show you some wildlife footage, and then we're going to have a book haul, and it's a really good one. My granddaughter Evie saw this bear through the window one afternoon, and this young bear is a female, and she's looking for bird feeders. There is also nearby my neighbor's fish cleaning table, and the barrel that you're going to see is filled with corn. Now, this corn barrel is extremely popular with the bears, and they show up sometimes in the middle of the night to try and knock it around and open it. The corn is for the ducks. My neighbor Linda feeds the ducks. My wife feeds the ducks. My daughter and my granddaughters, I all feed the ducks. If you'd like to see some duck footage, I can show you. And in the meantime, this bear is pretty harmless as long as we're careful. I followed this bear when it left into the woods. I was right behind it. It went off to the right, and it turned around and looked at me. And when it saw me behind it, it took off before I could film it in the forest again. And then it came out by the power line that you just saw me walking around. Went over that hill, and by the time I got to that hill, the bear had disappeared. They are extremely shy, and they really don't want anything to do with us. But they're beautiful creatures. No, Rocky Raccoon, I'm not feeding you. These two big boys have been hanging around a lot lately, and I may have to adopt them. Okay, here we go with the book haul. The book haul, I promise you, it's really a good one. So I had books shipped to me here. I brought some books with me, and I had my wife pick some up when she went back home and bring them back. So we're going to go through it and give you a sneak peek of what's coming. I'm going to be doing an episode on Joyce Carol Oates. So I've already read while I was recovering from that fall. Remember, I fell off a ladder? That was great. I read The Triumph of the Spider Monkey from Hard Case Crime, and it was good. I'm a fan of Joyce Carol Oates, so I have an episode coming up in the fall about Joyce Carol Oates. Then I read Cardiff by the Sea, which is 4 novellas of suspense by the great Joyce Carol Oates. Really enjoyed that. And I have tons of her books at home. And finally, I ordered Blonde, which came out, 25 years ago? The movie was controversial. I saw bits and pieces of the movie streaming, and I didn't care for it at all, although the actress is great. Yeah, 2020, this book was published. So I'm going to be reading this very soon before I do the episode. I'm going to have strong opinions on this. I'm a fan of Joyce Carol Oates and Marilyn Monroe, and I've done my own research on Marilyn Monroe, and I don't believe any of the conspiracy theories or suicide theories. I believe she died because of a tragic accident, and I will point out to you in that episode which biography documents the truth about Marilyn Monroe. But in the meantime, I'm going to read Joyce Carol Oates because she's fantastic. I didn't care for the bits and pieces of the movie. When I watched it streaming, I couldn't finish it. At some point I will, but we'll see how I feel about the book. I'm a fan of Joyce Carol Oates, as I said. Okay, so that's coming. I also have an episode coming on Lauren D. Esselman, whom I met 25 years ago. 2 books I read while I was recovering. Paperback Jack, which I really enjoyed this book. Fantastic. I'll be talking about that. You fans of the pulp era will enjoy that book. And then I read Iron Star, and I didn't enjoy this as much, and I'll explain why in the episode. This is basically a new version of a book he already wrote and published decades ago. And it was okay, but far from his best. But I'm going to have an episode about Lauren D. Esselman, who is a very nice man. And finally, well, not finally, I have a lot more to go here. I'm going to be doing an episode on Robert Silverberg. So I picked up Robert Silverberg's Monsters and Things, edited by Stephen Jones, which is a collection of his pulp fiction short stories from the 1950s, from the Pulp Fiction mags. I've read about half of this so far, and of course I'm enjoying it. I am a Robert Silverberg fan. I mean, really, there's no surprise here. I don't do episodes about authors unless I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of pretty much everybody. So, I also picked up another Hard Case Crime. I had not read this, The Hot Beat, which I have read. I read this while I was recovering and enjoyed it immensely. And I also am going to be rereading Up the Line. This is a new edition of Up the Line, which was first published in 1969. This has received some negative attention on the BookTube, in the BookTube community, because of some perceived sexual improprieties that are evident in the book, and I'll be talking about that in detail I think. Let me just move those out of the way. P.T. Duderman, I have an episode coming up about him. We're going to, with my friend Ed, we're going to film it up here, and we're going to be talking about Trial by Fire, which is an incredible fictionalized account of an actual event. And this guy is a great writer. I covered him previously in an episode, and after that I'm going to read the Hooligans, which is about the PT boats. He writes World War II fiction based upon actual events. So he's fictionalizing history, but it's really good. Probably among the finest World War II fiction books I've read in a very, very long time. That's Patrick Thomas Duderman. I emailed him. He was kind enough to respond. Really cool stuff. So for the World War II studies that I'm constantly involved in, we'll be doing that. I also have Breathe by Joyce Carol Oates. These are kind of out of order, so this is going to be part of the... I'm going to read this soon, actually, and be talking about that along with a half dozen other Joyce Carol Oates books. One of my favorite contemporary living authors is Joyce Carol Oates. And some miscellaneous stuff here. I picked up James Lee Burke's Don't Forget Me Little Bessie. I just got this in the mail. I'm a fan of James Lee Burke. This is part of the Holland family series that he's been doing. I expect it to be fantastic, as just about everything that he writes is. And I also picked up Stephen King's Never Flinch. I will not be reading this until the fall. I recently started rereading the Dark Tower series, so I'm kind of going to get burned out on Stephen King. So I'll read this in the fall or maybe closer to Christmas, and I'll let you know what I think of it. I expect to like it. I mean, I don't expect it's going to be his best, but I expect to like it. Other contemporary things. Okay, so I picked up Playground by Richard Powers, who is another contemporary author whom I hold in high regard. I have not talked about him on the channel. I'll be talking about this at some point in the future, and I'm really excited to be reading this one. And then I picked up, for you horror fans, right? So Black Hill Books, which is run by the family of Guy and Smith, are reprinting his entire back catalog, and this is book 5 in the Crab series. I have been collecting them all as they're re-released and reading them. Just to let you know, you can find these on Amazon. At some point in the future, I'll do an update on Guy N. Smith and what the family is doing. It's his daughter is really working very hard with some really great people to get Guy N. Smith's many books back on the market. This is part of the infamous and famous and awesome The Crabs series. This is an iconic horror series from the 70s, and it's great to have new editions of these. I'm excited about that. You're probably wondering where the Westerns went. Besides Lauren D. Esselman, I am reading Lone Wolf by the Johnstone family brand, and it's pretty good so far, so I'm reading that. I'll be done with this probably tonight. And finally, it's a lot of stuff. I have a lot of books here, and I even have more. I'm trying to keep it simple. I've been picking up the DC Finest collections, and this is the Superman family collection. I'm not buying all of the DC Finest because a lot of that's redundant. They've reprinted a lot of this material before, so I've been picking these up. This gets you Lois Lane, Action Comics, Jimmy Olsen, Superboy, all in one, and these are fun to read. I've already gone through about half of these. Some of these originals I have, so it's nice to reread them in a nice anthology. So I like what they're doing at DC Comics. And I also picked up Superboy, DC Finest Superboy. They're finally getting to reprinting Superboy. They're capitalizing on the movie because Krypto is in the film. So Superboy, the super dog from Krypton, is one of those, and they have, from Adventure Comics and Superboy Comics, they have reprinted a bunch of these, and I've really enjoyed this. I get a kick out of it. I have to tell you, I get a kick out of this stuff. The wind just picked up, sorry. I get a kick out of this when I see that I own most of the originals. I am an old coot. But it's so nice. I really love the fresh paper, and getting these in full color again. This is the best thing DC's doing right now, is reprinting their Golden Age and Silver Age books. Fantastic. A couple more here. I picked up Superman Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds, the deluxe edition in hardcover, because it was written by Jeff Johns with artwork by George Perez and Scott Koblish are involved in this. I read this a long time ago. I don't even remember when this came out. Beautiful deluxe edition. Look at the end papers. So DC does put out some of this stuff. I'm a fan of Jeff Johns and, of course, George Perez. So I'll just sit down at some point in the future and reread this. I'm not going to review it, but I bought it because it's nice to reread this stuff. Again, what the best thing that DC Comics is doing right now is reprinting the best of their material in these deluxe editions on fine paper. Really nice full color stuff. One more. Okay, so my wife went home to pick up my comic book orders, and Jesse at Modern Age Comics in Algonquin, Illinois, gave my wife a gift. It was kind of funny, actually. He gave her this Milkbone giveaway, if Superman #1 at Friendship Unleashed, which is a tie-in to the film. And this came with a box of Milkbone. It was a limited print, and he gave it to my wife, knowing full well I'm sure that she would give it to me because I'm a big blue collector. These go for $80 and more now on eBay. And it was a $5-6 box of dog biscuits. And it sold out. So that's the issue here. This was a limited print run. It sold out. My wife was given one. Thank you, Jesse. Modern Age Comics in Algonquin, Illinois, which is actually 2 stores in one. They have Black Cat Books and Modern Age Comics in the same store. His wife runs Black Cat Books, and she gets my Stephen Kings for me, and then Jesse does the comic books. He's been my preferred comic book guy for a long time. I know him and his son, and our friend Jeff there are good people, and so thank you, Jesse, for giving this to my wife so I could steal it from her. $80 on eBay. Is it? I don't know if that's. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, everything is collectible today. Is it really though? I don't know. I haven't even read this yet. I haven't even cracked it to look at it. I'm just glad to have it. You know, I'll be reviewing the movie. July is on this channel is entirely devoted to Superman. I will film a review of the brief review of the movie when I see it up here. I'll have to drive to town to go see it. But all of those, I have a couple of episodes about Superman comics from my collection that I did a bunch of those to celebrate the legacy of Superman. Let's just all hope that the movie doesn't suck. I think the general consensus already is that the costume is horrible. But the movie could still be good. All right, let's find out. And speaking of comic books, I want to mention, since I have a lot of new viewers on the channel, thank you so much for checking in. Wednesday is Comic Book Wednesday, so go to Michael K. Vaughan's channel and Steve Donoghue's channel. They both have beautiful minds. They are infectiously charming, highly intelligent, and they bring in an informed opinion to the table. I really like these two guys. I don't know them, so I'm just saying that because it's the truth. And you might want to check them out. Check out Comic Book Wednesday. I've really come to rely on it. You know, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I'm a comic book junkie. The wind just picked up. I don't know if you can hear that. There's nothing like this pine-scented wind up here in the North Country. The clouds just went behind, or the sun just went behind the clouds, and the wind picked up. So it's going to be an interesting day. John and I are hoping to go out fishing later. We'll see what happens. Fishing has not been good this year. I rambled on. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of quirky episode. I'm tagging it on at the end of June on the Range, which is also Michael K. Vaughan's contribution. Probably the single most important contribution to Western genre fiction that you will see in many, many years, thanks to Michael K. Vaughan and all of you people who are watching these videos and so forth. Okay, I rambled on. I'm feeling pretty good today. The tailbone's not bothering me so much. I'm sitting in a metal chair. The wind is picking up, and the pages are flipping. So I think it's time to put a pint in this hand and a fishing pole in this one, and I will see you again along the dusty trail. So please stay well, stay happy, feed your beautiful minds, read a book.